Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid
I'm
hot.
fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener. Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
What up, though, people? I wish I had on the victory shades today. Word to White Claw, but we're going to break that down. It's your boy, Brandon Dan, K. Detroit Kool-Aid. We got Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, vet of the network, man. And this is Wake Up Woodward. Chat family, as always, going ahead and smash that like button. And we got a lot on the menu today, especially that Woodward Pistons segment. I'm ecstatic about that because we're going to move on now to version 2.0 of our offseason outlook for these Detroit Pistons. And I can't wait. I already got a couple new events that they've invited us out to. So we might have boots on the ground at a shoe expo that is coming up soon. So, hey, stay on the lookout. I'm going to definitely drop those dates soon, and you guys can show up and hang out with the WUW Crew. I can't wait, man. Getting back into the swing of Pistons coverage stuff. I'm ecstatic, brother.
Yeah, hey, absolutely. Getting boots on the ground, lots of places around the city, and that's what this network is about. That's what this show is about. But yeah, unfortunately, not a Victory Shades show at all today. But you know what? We're still going to bring you all of the latest and greatest news. We're going to talk about the Tigers a little bit in the opening segment. Just, you know, one game. But even though it's one game, our group chat popped off. I see a lot of stuff on social media. Are you concerned? Or is there anything else you're concerned about with this team? Because I don't think anybody should be concerned about one loss. But is there anything overarching you're concerned about? We're going to discuss that. And also, with Frank Ragnow retiring, there's actually some salary cap ramifications, positive ones, although nothing positive. You'd rather have Frank Ragnow just be there and get his salary, but with him being gone, there is certainly some more flexibility and more money that the Lions could play with or not play with. We shall see. We're going to talk about that at about 8:15 or so, and then of course it's Wednesdays with Rod Beard. I cannot wait to hear what Rod Beard has to say about Frank Ragnow's retirement. And, of course, talk a little Tigers because they continue to win as the sample size continues to get larger. You know, he was a big sample size guy. And
yes.
Absolutely. He was like, wake me up when it's 40 games. It's been 40 games. It's actually been 62 at this point.
And they were the first of 40 wins.
The first of 40 wins. Shout out. I'm sure Rod Beard's gonna love to hear about that. And, of course, because it's Rod Beard, Woodward Pistons segment every single Wednesday. We bring you Pistons coverage every single week, even when it's the off season, even when it's not in the meat of like free agency and whatnot. Always bring us Woodward Pistons. So we still have a jam-packed show, even though can't wild out about a Tigers victory.
Can't wild out about a Tigers victory, but I love the way that you framed it. Is there anything that concerns us about that loss as we focus in on just that? Obviously, when you zoom out, everything is fine for these Detroit Tigers. We've seen them in every sort of situation this year, dropping some games against a team that they should beat, you know, going up against the Guardians, which is a good test, and not necessarily coming away with that 2-2 split. But I've learned a lot from Cavassier Chase. I've learned a lot over the years of being a Detroit sports fan, and I've learned a lot, honestly, from old me, who used to be able to sit down and watch the going to work Pistons, some of these Wings teams and these Tigers teams, sometimes Lions, and there was a certain confidence, though, that you had, regardless of anything that went down. If the 04 Pistons, you know, even on their ascent and even the year after, if they lost the game, it was like, whatever. You knew what the quality and identity of this team was, and I'm beginning to really approach this with these Tigers. If there was less depth, if there was less from the pitching overall, then I would probably be a little bit more concerned when you see things like this, because obviously a day ago it was, hey, go out there and sweep them. You know, after Sox, man, that was the energy. Now you're sitting here and you realize their bats kind of perked up against your team, and your bats didn't do enough, which is honestly the opposite of the recipe that's gotten the Tigers this far in the season.
You know, yesterday I I'm not going to say that I'm ashamed of myself, but I may have let my positive vibes and emotions get the best of me a little bit, because obviously I saw what happened on Monday night.
I don't think the Chad family that they would mind that much.
Hey, with the Parker Meadows coming back and Kerry Bonds hitting 3 home runs, seeing that it's the White Sox, and I basically broke character and was like, you know what, go sweep those bums. You know how I've always operated. Win series, you're not going to win them all. And a shout-out Chuckle Cheese, you had a great call yesterday, by the way. Plain and simple, you can't win them all. And that's really how I look at it. I'm not concerned at all about yesterday's loss in terms of that loss in a vacuum. Sometimes it's not going to be your day. Sometimes you're going to get clapped, and that's what happened to the Tigers. And one thing that I probably should have mentioned going into yesterday's game is that the White Sox, I said that they don't really have talent. I may have over-exaggerated a little bit too much, but their starting pitcher, Shane Smith, he's actually been very good this year. In 12 starts, has a 2.45 ERA, pitched very, very well yesterday against the Tigers. I'm going to tip my cap because even the worst teams, they have talented players. The one thing that bothers me, though, is that Michael Taylor's bum ass hit a 3-run homer. You hate to see that, and tip to the cap to him for yesterday, but you're still a bum. But you know what? Any given day, any player in a lineup can show up and beat you. And unfortunately, the guy who gave up the home run was Tyler Holton, who really hasn't come correct this year like we've been accustomed to from him in the past couple of years. So no, I'm not concerned. As long as the Tigers win these next 2, which I think they will, they finish a road trip 5-2. They finish a 4-game series at Chicago, winning 3 games to 1. That to me is fine. Asking a team to sweep any road team in a 4-game series is a big ask, even when it is the White Sox. So yeah, I may have wilded out a little bit yesterday, but the bottom line is take 3 of 4 from the White Sox, and you're ending this road trip feeling absolutely fantastic.
That was going to be my next question to you. All right, if the sweep was wilding out, then what is the realistic approach from this point forward? And it is getting back on track. It's hard to beat the team 4 times in a row, but I do expect the Tigers, every time they play the White Sox, I'm going to pick them to win.
Sure.
Every single time, and I expect that now. Get right and get back. I do believe that against the White Sox, you get the opportunity to say, you know what, we still believe we can beat this team. We like the way that we've been hitting the ball right now. It's starting to warm up. It is the White Sox, so maybe we can allow some players that need to be able to get certain types of reps to go out there and be able to do that. Not that it's a game that the Tigers believe that they can lose, but it's a game that the Tigers believe maybe they can do a little bit more to be able to help some of these players that need these reps as they get down the stretch, at least from the bullpen and the pitching standpoint. But I like that you point out the fact that, you know what, they got a little bit more than cupboard being bare over there, and you stated that this isn't necessarily the team from last year with the White Sox, though they're still pretty bad. There's some talent there, which is going to keep the Tigers on their toes in these series. What I like about it is before the trade deadline, right, the Tigers are already kind of getting these things that I believe keep you in that place of reality check. You know, the Guardians series, that keeps you in a place of being on your toes. When you're talking about losing even just a game to the White Sox, I think that these are little things that just kind of wake you up. And I'm hoping that throughout the season, they continue to get these pulses, because how have we seen them respond to these things? Whether it's a game or whether it's a series, they go out there and they just mash away after that. I love the get back Tigers, the get back Tigers. They've been a really good team at that in terms of not just playing through adversity and bouncing back, but even going out there and imposing dominance.
Yeah, and if they win 3 out of 4, that's still a dominant series win. And just for reference, the New York Yankees a little while ago, or actually not that long ago, went into Colorado, which actually is the worst team in baseball, and only took 2 out of 3. So you can't win them all. You would have loved to sweep, but you just can't win them all. The thing, though, if I'm going to look at something that I am a little bit concerned about in terms of the totality of the season, to take more of a 30,000 look at this, the starting pitching injuries. And don't get me wrong, Casey Mize, shout out. Casey Mize basically spent the minimum amount of time that you can on the IL, just missed a couple of starts, came back, has been okay since he's been back, but still, the fact is he's back. He doesn't seem to have any ill effects. The thing, though, is, and you saw it yesterday, the Tigers absolutely can implement pitching chaos, but you'd still like to have a healthy starting rotation. And I look at a game like yesterday where if this was a healthy team, if this was a healthy starting pitching rotation, maybe Reese Olson gets that start. And that's really who I want to see back. And the good news with Reese Olson is it is just a finger, and I did read some news where he got an injection in that finger, and he's expected to resume playing catch on Thursday. And that was what I said when it happened. I'm glad it's not an elbow. I'm glad it's not a shoulder. Because Reese Olson is somebody that I think the Tigers are absolutely going to need if they want to make the World Series and ultimately win it. I think Reese Olson is a non-negotiable. I actually think that Reese Olson is much more important, at least for this year, than somebody like Jackson Jobe, who we all know is also on the injured list right now after that, weird sort of post-game thing where he didn't stick around. It turns out he was suffering some sort of an injury. That's the one thing. I would like to see this pitching staff get healthy for a postseason run.
Yeah, and that was what I was kind of even alluding to with even a Reese Olson, Casey Mize, and some of the approaches they've taken to the players that they put on the injured list. I think it's because that they know we have this cushion, we have the ability to go and make sure that we're right. Why? Because this is about what they have in mind long term. We say this with the Lions. It's amazing that we're here already with the Tigers, where right now it's about what this team does in the playoffs. Right now, it's about what this team does to punch their ticket to a World Series. And so when you have an opportunity with the Reese Olson, who we know is important, it's like, okay, do you go and you take your chance with his starts lining up with maybe against the White Sox and maybe in another series in which they swept? Do you line it up that way and just roll the dice with getting him all the way healthy? That to me is where it's like, okay, yes, this is a loss that you would rather not have against the White Sox ever. For rivalry's sake and for just baseball's sake, you are the better team, and each one of these games are handle your business games. So we never excuse a loss. But when I look at it in full perspective, and when you do bring up Reese Olson and you look at how they had to attack this game realistically with a bullpen night, you'll want to see them do a little bit better from that perspective. But I am more comfortable with the Tigers as it relates to their long-term run and everything that we see them doing from top to bottom, including how they're managing these pitchers. Because we are like, oh, my gosh, we're concerned every time we hear one of these. And now we're seeing these guys coming back. We see that it hasn't been that serious. We see that it hasn't cost the Tigers much. Who knows? Maybe they could put 5 or 6 more wins on their record if they were fully healthy. I don't know. I think they're better right now, though, overall, because you're looking at guys who have depth and you're able to make decisions. It's before the trade deadline. Find yourself sometimes right now where you can go and say, you know what, okay, we see what our bullpen is. We see what our bullpen isn't. We have tested it. And why do you do that? Because we've seen players go through slumps and ups and downs. So that's why I'm like, with a game like this one in particular against the White Sox, they had this opportunity to go out there and honestly say, you know what, let's see what we got tonight.
Yeah, and one thing that I would also like to see moving forward, and who knows if it's going to happen. And again, this isn't the worst thing in the world. I just want to point it out. So far this season, Tyler Holton has looked damn near unrecognizable. He was one of the most dominant relief pitchers in the game the last 2 seasons. It really started in last year's playoffs. He really struggled, and this year he's struggled. His whip has skyrocketed as opposed to previous years. His ERA has obviously skyrocketed to the point where it's over 4. I would really like to see him get going, but that's also why Scott Harris in the offseason bringing in somebody like Tommy Kahnle was so important, because he's actually lived up and then some to the hype and to or whatever hype Tommy Kahnle can bring, but to the contract. And Will Vest has taken a leap. Yeah. Chase Lee in his first ever big league action has been a bit of a revelation. So I look at it too as if you can keep all the 3 guys that I just mentioned pitching at a high level, but also get Tyler Holton right, man, this bullpen, it's already really, really good, but it could be deadly. It could be really, really, truly dominant come up postseason time. So you hate to see Tyler Holton have another poor outing. You hate to see him give up a home run to Michael freaking Taylor, but he is somebody that I would just love to see get going. And it's still early, man. He was dominant as early as last year.
And that's why I was like, you know what? They're giving themselves the opportunities right now to see exactly what they have. And that's what I like. And A.J. Hinch, this Scott Harris, these guys have had an eye for their talent. They've had an eye for, you know what, we think this guy's going to figure it out. We know this guy's going to get it right. And you're right. Give him the time right now to figure it out, because how much better does that make this Tigers bullpen? Mm-hmm. But if not, that's why I'm glad that right now you're getting a very, very clear picture at who the Tigers are and who the Tigers are not. You're getting a very, very clear picture at what you probably want to shore up before this Tigers team makes that final stand, that final stretch run towards the playoffs. And that, to me, is, I think, what ultimately matters. What up, though, with Detroit Gunny? Before I throw it over to that dude, Justin, as well, to get his take on these Tigers, man's reaction. He says 100 games 100 games remaining. Predictions for their record. 500 ball gets you 90 wins. He says he's still standing on business at 104. I was at 91, you were at 88, and a lot of people would have called that probably a little on the Kool-Aid side, a little bit on the hopium side. I saw some that believed that they were closer to somewhere between like maybe 81 to 85. But where you at right now?
If I were to give my prediction of the last 100 games, I'll go 59-41. And that's without really giving a deep dive into the schedule. That's obviously barring injury. But 59-41 gets you to exactly 100 wins. Gets you 100 wins. So I'll go with that. I think anything over 55-45 and you're winning the division comfortably. I think 59-41, you're getting the 1 seed in the American League. So I'll predict 59-41, but I'll also be like anything 55-45 or higher, and you have a fantastic finish to the season. Baseball is a fickle sport. You're going to lose a lot of games.
Ooh. And that's where it becomes an interesting question, because I want to say something like, well, I'll bump from 91 to, say, 97, 98 wins. But if they are the Tigers that we saw at the end of last season, and if they are the Tigers that we're seeing right now, then you can almost sit here and call for 100, 101, 102 even. If this team, because we're talking about this Tigers team getting hot right now. We're talking about this Tigers team getting certain players back that we've been saying all season. Well, just wait till we get these guys back. We were saying this at the beginning of the season. Well, just tread water and wait till we get them back. Right now, this team is one of the best in all of baseball, and they're going to have an opportunity to push exactly what that ceiling is. And you know what, I take that 100 and you know, if this was Price is Right, we want 101. 199 cents. What up, though, that dude, Justin? Your reaction to these Detroit Tigers and an answer to What Up, though, Detroit Gunny's question. Chat family, I want to know what you guys think as well. 100 games remaining, the prediction for their record. 500 ball gets you to 90 wins. Still standing on business at 104. What up, though, Detroit Gunny?
No cause for concern at all last night. I think it's just an off game. Really tough to see the bats just die like that and the pitching get kind of shaken up like it did. But in terms of the season, I think I'm at the point where I do believe this team is going to win at least 95 games. I do think that they're going to get close to that 100-game mark. I'm going to go with 96 right now, but I think if they can not having a slump before the All-Star break, I think that they are going to be on pace to win 100 games.
God, and that's so crazy because 96 is such an excellent season. And the Tigers, they've built such a cushion to where 96, that would actually leave them. I think that would actually be the 55-45 finish to the season. And it's funny because watching these games, I can't imagine how some of these fans are going to deal with the horror of 45 losses down the stretch. But remember, it's baseball. 96 and 66 would almost assuredly win you this division, and it might even keep you at the number 1 seed because the Yankees, they've got flaws just like the Tigers do.
And 96 is so doable too because this team will make moves at the deadline. Like, I have very big confidence, and I think that the management is starting to see that as well, that this team is right there and truly is a right-handed bat and a high-leverage reliever away from truly making some noise in the postseason. So I really, really want to see them make a move towards the All-Star break to really shore up this roster and make sure you have all the dogs and all the pieces that you need A.J. Hinch to be able to use as chess pieces down the stretch to win you those big high-leverage games.
Oh, and I cannot wait to do, like, trade deadline shows.
Because that's what I was going to say is that at this point in time, you see what the bats are. They're a lot more consistent. You see what they can be once you get the Parker Meadows in there, be able to move Kerry Carpenter down in that order. And putting these players in a position of strength, and this is after already getting otherworldly performance out of and contributions from Spencer Torkelson and Javi Baez, and you're getting the All-Star Riley Green and All-Star Dylan Dingler. Hey, to be continued.
Yeah, could be.
That's what I'm saying. So at this point in time, if you're approaching the trade deadline, that's why. Who knows how much last night is one of those referendum games where you're saying, okay, we see what's in the bullpen. we gotta do something about the bullpen.
Yeah, and there's always more that can be done. This is still an incredibly talented team, but I think there is a chance that by the trade deadline you'll see a flaw or two that could prevent them from winning the World Series. That's the conversation we're in right now.
That's the conversation.
And those are the stories that we are going to get
to.
They
moved into the Lions rarefied air.
Absolutely. But to me, moving forward, before I pass it over to Chase and then we talk some Lions, I think the things that I'm looking forward to moving forward in terms of the health of their season and the health of their postseason is get Reese Olson back healthy and get Tyler Holton going, because I think that those two are pretty much non-negotiables. Olson more than Holton, because guys have stepped up in the bullpen, but I would like to see Reese Olson get healthy and Tyler Holton get back on track, because we know the type of demon that he has been. Chase, let me just ask you this. Do you think the Tigers rebound and win the next two and take the series?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know why people are flipping out. Like, if you can handle 3 losses against Cleveland, you should be able to handle 1 loss against Chicago. I mean, but yeah, it's just baseball. It happens, and I don't think the people expect Gary Carpenter to go out and hit 3 home runs again last night, and everybody else to just go light up the plate. I mean, it's just, sometimes that happens. It's a long season, and like there's no reason to go jump off a ledge right now. I think people are just being like really overreactive to what's going on.
Oh yeah, like everybody saw our group chat last night, and I'm not saying that we're, but little things, man, people really need some perspective when it comes to a baseball season. For the record, I think most people have it in the chat, and we all have it in this room. But
I think we're getting that
season.
Microwave effect is taking hold. Nick's like so on it with every game, and his energy is kind of affecting the whole team. Everybody's kind of living and dying by every pitch now.
I love Microwave Nick so much, because after Monday nights, like yesterday's show, he was already saying how like Parker Meadows could end up being better than Riley Green, and then last night Parker Meadows goes 0 for 4. And this isn't anti-Parker. It's just that like one game, hold your horses a little bit. But then again, I was a little victim of it too, because I called them the Avengers after a 13-1 game. So I shouldn't be throwing stones from a glass house.
But even Avengers took losses, man. They did. But we know exactly what these guys are, and to be able to see the mix of it in that first game back for Parker Meadows, you know what? We'll allow it, as kind of head of the of Kool-Aid drinkers. It's like I will definitely allow that. We know what this team is. We know who these players are going to be. It's absolutely all right to be able to get excited about these Tigers, especially when they're leading baseball. That's where I get so excited about what Nick is doing right now, because I think it's perfect for those who aren't catching that wave of energy. It's like I'm hoping you guys get to see what Nick is doing right now, because this is a Tigers team who, just like with the Lions, you just kind of buckle up and you go along for the magical ride that it's going to be. They've reached that rarefied air where now the discussions we're having aren't even about, what we need to do to make them good or make them a playoff team. We all have these conversations believing the Tigers are a real deal big boy squad now. Now the whole conversation about the Detroit Tigers is all about the World Series. Just like with the Detroit Lions, it's all about the Super Bowl. And I love where Detroit sports is getting. Like, I wouldn't even believe we'd been here 2 years ago. But here we are with multiple teams now with big-time expectations, and the others kind of, at least with the Pistons, doing the things they need to do to get there. And I can't wait and tap in with Woodward Wing, shameless plug, to figure out what our crew and our panel believes they're doing, at least to get there. But Eric Allen, he says Scott Harris doesn't get enough love for what he's built here with the pieces he acquired from Avila and what he's bought in, and especially the minor league talent coming up soon enough, too.
Absolutely, and if you just want to look at this year, he brought you Tommy Kahnle and Gleyber Torres in the offseason, and those two have been as responsible, or damn near as responsible as anybody for the Tigers season. They've been better than their contracts. They're underpaid given their contracts, and to me, they've been better than the hype and better than what we Tiger fans even expected. But speaking of teams that have a lot of hype and have lived up in a lot of senses, the Detroit Lions, because Frank Ragnow retired. We've all had some time to process that, and I know it's soon, but we have to talk about the cap ramifications. Actually, positive cap ramifications, if you can say that about Frank Ragnow's retirement. I cringe even saying positive and Frank Ragnow's retirement in the same sentence, but we'll explain. We'll talk about it. We'll even discuss a little bit of what they could do with a little extra money or what we want them to do. But first, Mad Packs.
Oh, that one's gonna be me. My bad. Mad Packs. It's Justin here to talk to you about Mad Packs, the hottest new cannabis brand here, and they're partnering with Woodward Sports. They're launching their new products on May 30th. That was last Friday, if you didn't know. Available in select dispensaries. High-low, getting you high for the low, delivering top-tier quality at unbeatable prices. Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka is a live resin infused tarantula, and this one is the bomb. Blizzard packs, THCA moon rocks that hit like a blizzard. Stay tuned with Woodward Sports Network for all of the latest updates.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 13th from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Nemo's in Corktown for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ven Johnson.
Hey, Les Stanford Buick and GMC has great offers for everyone. Get a 2025 Envision Preferred AWD for only $259 per month, or try out the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation for only $169 per month. Don't forget about the 2025 Hummer EV SUV for only $699 per month. Get to Les Stanford today and check out their massive inventory. Les Stanford Buick and GMC, LesStanford.com.
What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and thank you guys for being here, chat family. As always, you guys are the most important part of this thing. If you could be so kind, go ahead and smash that like button to support the WUW Crew and to support Woodward Sports. We appreciate you guys, man. And you know what? And now we're going to talk about the other Jungle Cats. This one, the Detroit Lions. Everybody has already heard the news, and if you haven't, I have no idea where you are or how you call yourself a Detroit sports fan. But Frank Ragnow retired yesterday, and there's going to be implications that we didn't quite talk about yesterday because we wanted to be able to give really Frank Ragnow retiring in our initial reaction, give it that precipice. We did discuss a little bit about, you know, what do the Lions do from here as it relates? Do they have enough in-house? But they do have some implications as it relates to the cap, and you know they're going to get some money back over the next 2 seasons, which when we're talking about how do the Lions keep this train moving down the roads, though Frank Ragnow is a big loss, when you're talking about being able to keep some of those young players, you know what, they just got a little bit more put back into the pocketbook.
Yeah, and so for next season, Frank Ragnow's retirement frees up $9.25 million in cap space, and for the following year, I believe it frees up even more. I think over 11 million. So there's many. Obviously, the most ideal thing would be for Frank Ragnow to just play and earn his contract money. But with Frank Ragnow retiring, you almost have to look at it as somebody that, if you want to frame it as somebody that Brad Holmes didn't pay, because the discussions are going to be had. I know that Brad Holmes wants to pay everybody. He'll pay everybody or die trying, but at the end of the day, Frank Ragnow really took the decision out of Brad Holmes' hands, and it does free them up for some things. It frees them up for coming years to maybe make a deal with Hutch, maybe pay Anzo in extension. But for this year, $9.25 million is what the Lions will have at their disposal. And I mentioned it before. Right now, when you look at free agent centers, you don't want any of them. Just keep going with Graham Glasgow right now, because there is nobody really available in terms of somebody that could really help this team, in my opinion, and I think by the opinion of their play in the past. Yeah. Obviously, camp cuts may be a different story, but with $9.25 million, and this is where I'm going to go back to a discussion as old as time, I do think it would be wise for the Lions to shore up other parts of their team where their interior of their offensive line suffered a huge blow. And I think with the money that they freed up, it's a perfect opportunity to bring back Z, maybe with less stress, or bring in somebody like Jadeveon Clowney on a short-term contract. And it's not because I know when I bring stuff up like that, people like to say, oh, so you think they don't have a pass rush? You don't believe in Hutch? That's not true at all. It's just, to me, it's an opportunity for them to get better at a position, to shore up some things.
For what purpose?
Yeah, just
for a Super Bowl.
For a Super Bowl, because at the end of the day, what have we always talked about? And we'll get into it more in a second. Marcus Davenport has warts, missed 28 games the last 2 years. Josh Pascal has warts, missed 15 games in the past 3 seasons combined, and his production has been relatively mid. Al-Qadim Muhammad has warts. Prior to the second half of last season, he was a practice squad player for a year and a half straight. I just think adding more depth, adding more insurance, even if you think Z or Clowney is a little bit of an overpay, with the money that's freed up, I just think it's a no-brainer at this point. I'm not saying if Brad Holmes doesn't do it full the season, but I just think that the Lions may even have to overcompensate a little bit for what they'll lose at the interior of their offensive line.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I'm seeing a lot of different reactions from the chat right now I wanted to be able to get to. And people are still hurt about Frank being gone. I see expert Swami. He just put Frank, no, with the crying emojis, man. And you know what? Weezy D313 reader might as well join. Frank, Weezy D313.
I disagree.
He's been on one in the chat this morning. Are you okay, Weezy? Are you okay, brother? But a lot of people right now are still, I think, just heard about him, man. Expert Swami, again, this is just a big gut punch. But, guys, they got to do something about this. John Henry, last year we had 3 All-Pro offensive linemen. This year we have 1. It's definitely going to be different this year while the rookies get worked in. That and 2 coordinators and the toughest schedule. Yeah. And you know what? Those are fair questions. Those are fair criticisms to bring up. But we've seen the best teams in the league. This is what they go through. They lose players. They price themselves out of certain players. Because why? Because they're drafting well, or they're identifying the certain types of free agents you want to bring in. Their systems are making players look good. You know, these are the things that happen. You lose your coordinators, and we've heard it, man. Even Brandon Graham was talking about this with the Eagles. He said, look, man, this is what happens. And you still have to go out there, if you're players, and you have to go out there and execute. We all know how to play football. And to me, I think it's very, very kind of overblown when people keep talking about who these coordinators are. Look, there's a whole league full of people who have talked about who Calvin Shepard is. If this guy is going to step out there and fall flat on his face as a defensive coordinator, I am telling you, like, that would be the biggest shock to me. And John Morton is a vet of all vets, especially as a coach in this league. Who is here at the start of this thing? He's back here. We know how Dan Campbell does things. He's not just bringing people back just for issues and giggles. This is not how he does things. So it's not like, no, I do give them this aspect of trust in. Why? Because who was Ben Johnson to us before they said, you know what, this is the guy we're going to roll with? So I'm not necessarily going to sit back. You know, I know how a lot of people felt about Aaron Glenn before we lost him. I know how people felt the couple years before the first year we made the playoffs. I remember what people were saying about Aaron Glenn. It wasn't nice stuff. Now all of a sudden, it's as if those two people who Dan Campbell and co helped to identify and helped to bring to fruition, all of a sudden, like Dan Campbell, he's lost that magic. Now all of a sudden, who he's putting in place, he just got fluky on that one. That, to me, is a little bit overblown. That's where I do believe in what this team can do. I'm hoping they do keep a guy like Ragnow somewhere very, very close around. If you're talking about continuity, and if you're talking about what you can have in that locker room, this is where I'm hoping, like they did with Teddy Bridgewater, you can keep him around because he understands Lions culture. He understands Detroit. His family is expanding here. That's the one thing that if you're talking about what do you do immediately, and you're talking about getting these rookies ready, I'm looking at what you do with Frank Ragnow in terms of being able to have the tutelage and some connection with these with that offensive line and Hank Fraley.
Well, and the reason why I bring up edge rushers, because Weezy D313 very on brand. It's like, how the F are we talking about this jag? He's obviously talking about Zadarius Smith, who thinks it's a jag. It's because
he really hates Zadarius
Here's
Smith.
why. It's because the Lions, they're not going to spend any money, I think, on their offensive line throughout the offseason. There's nobody to get at the center position. Right now, I think they're going to move forward with Glasgow starting the season at center, and then maybe Ratledge at a guard, Mahogany at a guard, Frazier playing now and then, maybe him starting, who knows, but that's why. And this is where Stephen Baffey, left tackle Decker, left guard Mahogany, center Glasgow, right guard Ratledge, right tackle Sewell. We are good. Still have Manu, Sorsdale, and Skipper in that mix too.
People trust in Mahogany?
Here's the problem though with that, Steven. Look me in the face and tell me that it's as good as an offensive line as it was even a couple of days ago. Look at me in the face and tell me that it's as good as an offensive line as it was at the beginning of last year when you had Ragnow and Kevin Zeitler. And I get it. There's nothing that you can do about it. But this is why I want to make other parts of this team even stronger, because it wouldn't shock me at all if the interior of the offensive line maybe struggles a little bit initially with young players playing, with Ratledge and Frazier being rookies, with Mahogany only playing like 181 snaps last year, including the playoffs. There's going to be an adjustment period. And like I said, the reason why I mentioned the whole pass rush thing is because I just think there's an opportunity to make another part of your team better, where one part of your team, the interior of the offensive line, recently has gotten, in a lot of ways, gutted. I'm sorry, Frank Ragnow leaving is a blow, or retiring is a blow. Kevin Zeitler leaving in free agency is a blow. It's not something that they can't overcome, but I also think you need to shore up other parts of this team. And JB Smoove, if you've got that. One of the reasons why I think bringing in a Zadarius Smith or a Clowney could be really advantageous for this Detroit Lions team. It's not just because I think that they're better players. It's because, and even Weezy D313 will know this. Well, here we go. We'll start with this one. Lions potential edge rushers, and these are what they did the last two seasons. Jadeveon Clowney, 31 games, 15 sacks, 18 tackles for loss, 30 quarterback hits, 115 pressures, 13.9 pressure rate. Zadarius Smith, 34 games, 14.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, 37 quarterback hits, 123 pressures, 15.2 pressure rate. The reason why I brought these up is because this isn't even when they're at their prime. This is when they're in their early 30s doing this over the last couple of years, and they're still very, very effective. And with Zadarius Smith, I mean, you'd probably have to pay him less than what you were going to when you released him. I think you could get him advantageously. And with Jadeveon Clowney's interesting because when you look at contracts that he's played under in his career, he's played under a lot of one-year contracts, and he's played under a lot of cheap contracts. You look at 2020, he was 1 year, $13 million. I don't think Brad Holmes is going to do that. 2021, 1 year, $8 million. 2022, 1 year, $10 million. 2023, 1 year, $2.5 million, which he would not accept. He's worth way more than that. And then what he was on the last, he was on a 2-year, $20 million contract when he was released by the Carolina Panthers. So my point is that you could probably get Jadeveon Clowney with the money that you're saving with Frank Ragnow retiring for, I don't know, would he take 1 year at 8, 9, 10, maybe 2 at 20? I would do either of them.
I wonder for a 1 year flyer, and shout out to the Clowney family and everything, because he does have family here in Detroit. That's my late grandmother's on my dad's side family, and it would be an interesting thing. They support him big time at all the little stops he's been at, and it would be an interesting thing to see if he presents not necessarily the same type of player that maybe Zadarius Smith was last year, but at a cheaper rate and maybe somebody more agreeable at 1 year. Are you able to try and get something like that out of a Clowney? Where I've seen a lot of people's focus go to, though, is while we're looking at what they do at edge, do they still have to figure out something with end zone? That's the one thing I've been seeing people really talk about.
The reason why I touched on it 100%. It's something that is going to be an issue, or maybe not.
Maybe not,
but
even not.
It won't affect the cap this year because with Alex Anzalone, we're talking about an extension. And for the record, I mentioned 3 at 30. People called me a madman at the time, but I'm hearing some chatter about 3 at 30 from other shows too. So maybe I wasn't trying to cheapskate him as much as people said. And I even mentioned with Anzo, I would potentially give like 2 at 22 or even 2 at 24. But as far as this year, that extension wouldn't affect the cap. But yeah, Alex Anzalone, that's something ongoing. That also might be something that the Lions are more comfortable doing, knowing that you save some cap space with Frank Ragnow retiring, because that's another part of the defense, which even though Anzalone, he could price himself out, you're still better with him, and the defense will probably have more responsibility because the offensive line is going to take a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, because here's my question to you guys, man, and I'm curious as well when we get the legend on what he's going to say, because John Henry Goff is great in a clean pocket. Guys coming up the A-gap will be an issue. They will be tested often. We talked about our overall season adjusted expectations, and we talk about having to get players going and things of that nature for whatever they're going to have to do. Because now, like you said, a couple days ago, this offensive line was one in which we said, okay, they're more than serviceable, and it looks like they have some depth based on the way they've drafted. Now with Frank Ragnow gone, you're looking at a blow to your starters and a blow to your depth. You can't afford to have any injuries effectively to Glasgow or to Taylor Decker. But realistically, we know that you may, which is another blow to their depth. Frank Ragnow being, just retiring and us sitting here on day 2, it does present a whole lot. And as I'm looking here at their schedule, that's where the question is. Because you believe now at this juncture it's a chance that they do go out there and drop one of those first 2 games. But are you still bullish on them on their pre-bye week record, being able to get to that bye week above 500? Despite now the challenges they got ahead of them to make it work on both sides of the trenches. We thought it would just find that bookend. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do with Frank Ragnow retiring, and depending on moving parts and pieces, that also includes some young players first and second year.
All right, as we currently stand right now, I have the Lions going 4-3 in their first 7 and being 4-3 at the bye week and finishing the season 11-6. However, if the Lions make a move for another defensive player, another edge rusher, I might up the win total a tad. Because when it comes to getting another edge rusher, and I got a couple more things, JB Smoove, it's not just about, like I said, we can even reframe this because a lot of people get mad when I say help for Hutch. It's not really help for Hutch. It's just adding more to this defensive line when you can afford it. Because I'm not worried about Hutch. He's going to be dominant, but why not make this line better if you have an opportunity? And one of the reasons why I think you have to add somebody else is because, and even for the biggest Davenbros now, even when Marcus Davenport was healthy, he's not somebody who ever played a large volume of snaps. Josh Pascal hasn't played a large volume of snaps in his career. Al-Qadim Muhammad, not either. In fact, I actually have a little bit of a graphic on average snaps played per season in their careers if you have that one. Thank you so much. This is their entire career, not just last year, not just in their prime years. Marcus Davenport, 351. Josh Pascal, 413. Al-Qadim Muhammad, 452. Jadeveon Clowney, 583. Zadarius Smith, 613. And this is one of the reasons why I don't have a problem now with Marcus Davenport being on the team. I just don't think it's a smart idea to give him too much responsibility. Same with Pascal, same with Muhammad. These guys at the bottom are guys who have been very durable as of late and have played high-volume snap seasons. Both of them, both Clowney and Z, played more than 600 last year. So it's just about adding more to the rotation and adding more talent, because whether people like it or not, Jadeveon Clowney and Zadarius Smith have accomplished eons more in the NFL than all 3 of those guys combined, and have been better at their peak, and I think better even when they weren't at their peak. So that's why. Not just because, Hutch needs help. It's just because why not add more to this defensive line, especially with what you're now going to be lacking on the offensive line and the money that it frees up. It would cost you basically nothing.
So you're on the side of definitely go out there and take a swing at the defensive line. I'm on the side of going out there and keeping that offensive line one of your strengths, and losing Frank Ragnow, I don't know necessarily where they go to continue to keep that one of your strengths. but I do believe they need to do something. You're talking about the protection for Jared Goff. You're also talking about what this means for any aspect of trick plays. We know that they're not going away from that or shying away from that if you listen to John Morton at all. And you're also talking about this means for your dual-headed monster out of the backfield in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. This is something where I'm like, if I could only go to shore up one. They've made some investments, in free agency on that defensive side. And this is where I'm hoping offensively they can do something too on that other side of the line. I know we got the legend on.
And that's, but the only thing I'll say to that is I just don't think there's anything available like
that's
there is
the
on the.
thing.
That's I would love to get. And honestly, when we talk about injuries or potential depth, maybe Brad Holmes does go and get one of those worse than Jags that's available right now. Maybe he's got his eye out for a camp cut. Maybe he's got his eye out for a camp cut guard or something like that. The reason I mention edge is just because I think that there's something more available to do. I mean, Zadarius Smith, like, for crying out loud, was literally here last year. And honestly, if they would have knew Frank Ragnow was retiring, they probably should have just kept Z. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to harp on that too much. But just before Rod gets on, I've got one more thing that I want to show, which is why just having bodies on this defensive line, and obviously some that are way more than bodies, like Hutch and Z and a Clowney, is so important, because every single one of the guys that we're talking about, both that's there and both we're talking about getting, have had elongated stretches recently in this decade of missed games. If you've got that one, Ryan, if you want to pull that one up, it's titled Games Missed in Recent Seasons. Marcus Davenport, 28 last 2 seasons. Al-Qadim Muhammad, 25 last 2 seasons. And this is for whatever other reason. I know Al-Qadim Muhammad, part of it was just him being on the practice squad. Zadarius Smith, 16 in 2021. Josh Pascal, 15 last 3 seasons. Even my favorite athlete in the world, Aiden Hutchinson, is not immune. He missed 12 last season, although I don't think it means he's injury prone or anything. I just have to be fair. And Jadeveon Clowney, even in 2020, missed 9. It was either 8 or 9, one of those two. But injuries happen. A lot of these guys, in particular, Marcus Davenport, have had a lengthy history. Even the guys that we love and think are better and more and less injury prone and who have been more healthy recently have had their injury warts lately. So just keep the depth stacked. Keep the high-end talent as stacked as you can, and use the money that Frank Ragnow's retirement frees up wisely to shore up another part of your team where your interior O-line is going to lack a little bit. And I'm not saying their interior O-line is going to fall off a cliff, but Frank Ragnow, man, a lot of you believe he's the best center in the league, and I'm not going to argue with you about that. Can't act like they're just going to plug and play. It's going to be an adjustment. So make your D-line better than it was last year. It's certainly better than it was last year at the end, but even better than last year when it was healthier at the beginning of the season.
It's interesting because I believe that the bigger need personally is on offensive line, but in terms of what's the highest value of players that are available on either side of the ball, you got to go with the defensive side. The camp cuts is going to be interesting to see there too, but you're not getting anybody that's replacing Frank. At this point in time with the offensive line, you're probably just bolstering a little bit of depth. But John Henry in the chat, and I also want to get to some of these record predictions, and then I'll read John Henry's. Terrell Lamar says 7-0. He's still bullish.
All right,
Vincent E.
Slap-a-lap-a-ding-dong. Sorry, Terrell Lamar. Slap-a-lap-a-ding-dong.
Vincent E. 6-1.
Again, to me, that's a little slap-a-lap-a-ding-dong, but that's okay. At least you have one loss.
Look, Expert Swami, he asked what I believe, and if it's whatever you call it, slap whatever, I'll be that 5-2. Expert Swami.
That's fine.
Ryan's reaction though, and this is usually one of the more measured people in the chat. I respect his opinions. He says, and he puts the crying emojis after, I think we're gonna go 9-8.
Well, that'd be a disaster.
Ooh,
that would be a disaster. So no. Ryan's reaction. I lowered my win total with Frank Ragnow retiring, but only do 11-6. 9-8's unacceptable. It's a disaster. They probably missed the playoffs with that. Can't happen.
Can't happen. John Henry though says this. He offers a solution. Sign Brandon Scherf that give you a seasoned All-Pro. Let Rutledge and Mahogany battle for right guard. Keep working Rutledge at center, and by the bye week, we could be firing on all cylinders. Is
Brandon Scherf available? I mean, obviously, I would love Brandon Scherf, but I don't think he's like a trade. Maybe I don't even like. He's definitely not listed in terms of the free. Well, maybe he is. I'll have to look on that a little bit. Maybe he is available. I'm not sure. I'm looking more at centers, but as I said before, if you want to get another guard in here, another interior offensive lineman to shore up the depth, I'm not mad at it. That's another way they could spend that money.
Man, I'm looking at the chat here, and I'm seeing some more people as well. Phil, do the Lions start 0-3? I don't think that there's any way possible they start the season losing back-to-back NFC North games in a division they have largely dominated over the last few years. I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked.
I will say this, too. We're definitely going to have to learn some lessons as fans this year in terms of not overreacting to losses. If the Lions start 0-3, I will absolutely overreact because I don't think that would be an overreaction because I think there's about a 0.0001% chance it happens.
Hey,
no way they're going 0-3.
I'm going to clear up a couple super chats and we'll get to the legend Rod Beard. Nobody, $5 super chat. The fact that Sam recognizes Davin Bros lets me know some of y'all got some terrible football insights. This man is allergic to health. You chumps. And you know what? With Davenport, it's really us trusting Brad Holmes again, even though last year it didn't work out. That's the most we can do. He's running it back, and I'm uncomfortable with it, to be honest with you. I've stated that, but what are you going to do? You going to tell Brad Holmes he's wrong? I guess Davenport's play or his health will tell us that this year. Randall Smalls, $5 super chat. I heard this sky is falling all last year. Next man up. We may be better with the new guys in the long run, but this is about what they got to do this season.
I'm sorry, but just acting like Frank Ragnow wasn't important is just insane to me. And Rando, I know that's not what you're trying to do, but it's whatever. I'm seeing a little bit too much of that percolating on social media and in the chat, and that's fine. That's fine. Just put some spect on Frank Ragnow's name. And for the record, for that chatter earlier who mentioned Brandon Sheriff. He is available. He is available. He's been a really good guard in the league for a lot of years, and his market value is actually set at $7 million a year, which is significantly less than he made in his last contract. So maybe more on that a little bit later.
John Henry? Shout out to
that
John
was
Henry.
actually not a bad pull. Even if I wouldn't do it, he is available. So the fact that I was questioning whether he was or not, my bad. He is available.
Hey, you know what? Let's say what up, though, to some friends, and then we'll say what up, though, to a legend after that and Rod Beard. I can't wait. Let's rock. Ask him some of these questions as well. Should they attack the defensive line, or should they scour to try and make sure this offensive line stays the strength? Hey, let's rock. Hey, who we got to say hello to? We just heard from Les Stanford. So I'm going to tell the people about some merch.
Yeah. That'd be you, Ryan.
Merch is what
merch.
JV
What up,
Smooth
intern, Ryan?
But yeah, I did this yesterday, so hopefully a little bit better. But no, if you guys are tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports stuff and you're looking for some new merch, head over to woodwardsports.com and click shop so you guys can be just like that.
Crusader shirt.
Just so you can be walking down the streets of Detroit and someone's like, damn, where'd they get that shirt? And you can tell them that you went to woodwardsports.com and clicked under shop.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak? Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Beligian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media, X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, it's Planet Fitness, fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as limited use of the Black Card Spa featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
What up, though, people? One of my probably favorite times of the week, one of my most favorite times of the week, is when we get to talk to the legend, Detroit News Rod Beard, and shout out to him for even still making the effort to get with the bros every single Wednesday. Senior sports editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Rod Beard, formerly of the Detroit News as sports editor-in-chief. And I see that block in, boy, so you already know. I already know it's going to be a good second, man. Go blue. But, Rod, look, just first and foremost, man, what up, though, to you, brother?
What up, though? What up, though? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. You know, we're over here talking about the Detroit Lions. Obviously, big news. Frank Ragnow retiring. Now, after everyone has had some time to process, they're still hurting. We got some time to digest. Now everyone's mind is fixated on what the Detroit Lions need to do. And, you know, Flannel Sam believes that there's more meat on the bone to be able to attack the defensive line with what's left in free agency, though I believe that the bigger need for them is offensive line, which for the last few years we've been able to say is a strength of theirs. Where do you stand with what the Detroit Lions need to do moving forward to shore up anything as they go on this Super Bowl, hopefully, run this year?
No, it's a big loss. We can't underestimate losing your starting center and an all-pro caliber starting center and the impact that's going to have. But the rest of your line kind of compensates for that. It would be a difference if he was your best and clearly your best offensive lineman and you didn't have a Penei Sewell, you didn't have other people who could compensate for it. So I think they'll feel it. I don't think it will be a catastrophic loss like some people are making it out to be. So you figure out ways. And again, I don't think you're going to go and find somebody that's just sitting on the shelf. If you want to go get the sheriff, you go find the sheriff and figure out the $7 million some kind of way. But there is no other substitute that you just go, oh, let's go find. You would have to make a trade and really feel like that is a weakness of your offense. And if your offense is the stronger part of your team and that is the biggest weakness, then you go fix it. You just figure out a way to go fix it. The same way they did at the trade deadline with the pass rush and going to get an edge and getting Zadarius Smith. At the time, I said you go and get multiple guys. You do the same thing on offense. You go get multiple guys in the draft. You make sure your depth is able to figure out something. If there's a question mark and you think Frank Ragnow may retire, you just start building up the depth there and figure out ways to make sure that you don't get left in the lurch like you are right now.
Yeah, definitely. So now instantly you're also talking about what is the impact to the Detroit Lions. There's a lot of people who are still bullish about it. To the to the dismay of Flannel Sam over there. There's still some people called him for 7-0, 6-1 before the bye week. There's a lot of bullishness as it relates to 13-4 over the season. Where are you at now? Any adjusted season expectations for the Lions, or even what that record could look like for them in your mindset heading into that bye week? I believe, it's just maybe even a little bit of Kool-Aid in there, 5-2. Flannel Sam is at 4-3, not much off from these records. But where are you at here, Rob, with the Lions and the impact to them to start the season if they change nothing?
You tell me they're going to Kansas City to win that game. You tell me that they're going to lose to Chicago at home in the home opener of the season. No, they're not losing to Cleveland. Come on, let's be for real. I would say 5-2 is maybe a little optimistic. I don't think you're going into Kansas City and winning, and I don't think you're going into Baltimore and winning. I think those are just 2 L's automatically. So 7-0, saying they're going to be 7-0 is just completely irresponsible as a fan to say. That's insane.
Rod dunking on people this morning.
I'll say 5-2, 4-3. Maybe they stumble out the gates against Green Bay and figuring some things out. But I think those are the 3 road games. I think you can just mark those down: KC, Baltimore, and possibly the Green Bay Packers to start. Those are 3 tough road games to start out with. And going to Cincinnati isn't a gimme either. I'll say 4-3. I'll say 4-3. I think they stumble a little bit. The sky is not falling, though, that they can't salvage anything from this season. They still do have the Cowboys and the Giants and the Rams and Steelers in the second half of the season. They can make up for some of that.
Yeah, and I've got 4-3 as well as currently constructed. I actually
who said 7-0? 7-0 is negligent and irresponsible.
Look, hold on, Rod. People are throwing more in there now. Michael Rary, 6-1. You're getting them out in the chat now. Hey, y'all, continue to get these predictions in. I'm gonna let's make sure Rod sees them, man. Vincent E, 6-1 LFG. You got him a little fired up right now, Rod.
Well, and
where is he starting to schedule? Is he starting to schedule in the preseason? Yeah. Wait, you have to look at the schedule and say, I see Chargers, I see Falcons, I see Dolphins, and Texans. If you're starting there, yes, they can be 7-0. But if you're starting,
Terrell Lamar, 7-0,
undefeated, never lost.
He said 7-0. Rod is saying some crazy-ish.
Never lost.
All right. Well. Here's the good news is, now that we've talked about that, I see a little bit of an opening here to discuss something with you, Rod Beard, and there's a little bit of snark to it, but I'm not aiming it at you. You're actually the last person I'm aiming it at. With the people saying 7-0, 6-1, my issue has been that Frank Ragnow is almost a symptom of what I see a little bit too much with Detroit sports fans. And maybe it's all sports fans, but I work in Detroit sports media right now. The minute Frank Ragnow retired, people were just way too quick to just move on and be like, we're fine, everything's fine. Graham Glasgow, of course, is going to have a career year. Tate Ratledge, he'll be a starting level center almost immediately. And if not immediately, he'll be a starting center by week 8. And I'm not with it. I think Frank Ragnow was way too important. Am I saying that the Lions are they can't win the Super Bowl or they can't win the division? Absolutely not. But I just don't understand it. Frank Ragnow people in one breath will get on me for saying that I think he's the second best center in the league and not first. And then when he leaves, be like, we're fine. Glasgow season, baby. Do you ever experience this, Rod, or is it just me?
All the time. It's the rose-colored glasses or the Honolulu blue-colored glasses that people choose to wear. And you got to be realistic about it sometimes and just say, hey, maybe they won't go 7-0. Maybe they won't go 17-0 this year. And it seems like it's just a very logical thing to say, but it's the truth. They will not go 7-0. Just put it on wax. Put it on a T-shirt. Do whatever you got to do. They will not go 7-0. But it's also, you can point out that these injuries are going to make a difference, and they will take some time to get adjusted to it, and that's okay. Fans want to be fans. Let them be fans. But I think it's our job as media members to also inject that reality into it and say, hey, maybe they will suffer a little bit. Maybe they will struggle. They will lose a few games. It doesn't mean that we're any less intelligent or that we don't believe in the team and what they can do. But it's not our job as media people to be fans and to have that blinded sort of take on everything that it has to be roses, or if we say they're going to start 3 and 4, that we're just idiots. 3 and 4, you could make a very clear argument that they would start 3 and 4 because of the Frank Ragnow injury, and you could be completely right. That doesn't make you a Lions hater just to say it that way, and I think that's the distinction we've got to make with some people.
I'm not going to lie, Rod. 3 and 4, and I would probably be a little panicked. I got 4 and 3 right now, but at the end of the day, you're right. The schedule is much more. It lightens up quite a bit towards the back end. In the beginning, I mean, it's going to be tough. Like I said, I got 4 and 3 before Frank Ragnow retired. I was 5 and 2, and for the record, if anybody in the chat has 5 and 2, I'm not mad at that. It's the 6 and 1 and 7 and 0 stuff where I'm like, okay. And you know what? If the Lions do start 6 and 1 or 7 and 0, I'll get on my knees and apologize to every single one of yous. But I still think that's just a little bit of blind slappiness. But you know what? Whatever. Go ahead, Kool-Aid.
Oh man, no, I'm sitting here looking at the chat and they are absolutely fired up. Now look, Steve O'Baby is on your side here, Rod. He's like, Rod, I am begging you to slap these Woodward Sports chat in the face back to reality. But then he's just giving you the applause. Hell yeah, Rod, tell him. But then Grim is like, we true blue. Moves Brown. I wonder, are you a Detroit Lions fan? Because he says they won't even go 4 and 3. I don't know about that one there, man.
Rod just said there's a pathway to 3 and 4. I don't agree. I mean, there is a pathway. I don't think they will follow that path. But hey.
Just a few more record predictions here. Robert Yaniak, 6 and 1. Jason Kenyon, 5 and 2 to start the season is reasonable. They can win those games. And there was another one who said that they do believe they can go into KC and win that series on the road. So there's a lot of fired up fans. I do wonder where people's where the confidence comes from. Definitely share that, because that might have to be a future kind of all-around Swisher Brick segment that we do. But I found it. Michael Wary, he says, Rod, he believes that 4 and 3 is silly. They can go into KC and win. I understand B more, but other than that, we are the Lions. And right now in the chat,
and they are
he
the
has
Chiefs.
the number
they won
one
3
crown.
Super Bowls. Like to act like the Lions, it's just a foregone conclusion that they're going to go into those bums at Arrowhead who have won 3 Super Bowls and win when they have freaking Chris Jones
just
in
bums.
the interior.
You don't remember Brian Branch with the win?
And I'm not saying they can't. It's just we're the Lions. We're not the bum ass Chiefs who have won 3 Super Bowls. How dare you?
Hey, what's Patrick Mahomes' record against Jared Goff?
Hey, I know. So Jared Goff's better. He's better.
Here we go.
You got me going today, man.
What up, though, Rob? What you got to say to the chat, man? They feeling the Kool-Aid this morning. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
It is not my job to convince you if you believe 7 and 0 is what's going to happen. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible. It's like I won't even say what it's irresponsible. But do you? It is not my job to convince you of anything.
You know what?
I just say what I see and just keep it moving. That's it.
We might have to start some sticky notes for the chat family.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna just let it be. I'm gonna let that be. Did the Lions beat Tampa Bay during the regular season last year?
And that was a gut punch.
No, they did not.
That was a gut punch to start the season, especially when the offense got off to a slow start.
And that's a game at home on ESPN that people are just counting as an automatic dub. This schedule is not easy. It's not. You may not go into Green Bay. You probably won't go into Baltimore. I don't think you go into Kansas City. That's 3 potential losses. The Tampa Bay at home in Week 7 before the bye is not a given. That Cincinnati's not a given. I don't even know if I feel good about 5 and 2 anymore. Cool. Do you?
And that's the Frank Ragnow effect, though. You're saying too.
Right. That's definitely part of it, and there will be some adjustments along the offensive line. But the offense is your strongest piece of that. Are you getting rushes up the middle now and blitzes up the middle because people want to test what that looks like? That's the part where I feel like the interior offensive line will come together, and you won't feel that as much as some people might want to believe. But at the same time, let just.
Chat's crazy, dog.
Let the chat be the chat.
Yeah.
Let the chat be the chat.
Tabitha Gable, though, one of our OGs, she said, "Tell him, Rod." So you got some support, man. I'm seeing it in there. But
wow,
what up,
that's shocking from Tabitha Gable. With all due respect, she's kind of been like pretty big slappy in my opinion, but that's okay. Be a slappy. They're obviously a really good team, and I think, Rod, one thing that I think we've obviously kumbaya'd more than others in the chat, but we can even kumbaya with the chat, is that a 4-3 start is far from catastrophic. That would actually, I think, set them up okay to still win the division and achieve all their goals. I mean, you just look at a stretch from November 23rd through December 4th, 3 consecutive home games against the Giants, Packers, and Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Very winnable. And then a game at Los Angeles, and then another home game against Pittsburgh. That, to me, screams, especially with more continuity on the O-line with the new guys or new players playing positions, that screams like that could be a 4-1 stretch. That's just the ebbs and flows of a season. I mean...
And people have to understand how the schedule works, too, that this is one of the trappings of being a number 1 team and winning your division. You get a tougher schedule the next year, and then just the rotations of which divisions you play against. Yes, you're going to play tougher competition each year that you get better. You just have to remain better. Losing Frank Ragnow does not make you better. You're going to struggle in some of these games, and then just the natural attrition of other teams getting better. Is Green Bay going to be the Green Bay of last season? Remains to be seen. Have they gotten better? Yes. Have the Bears gotten better? Yes, but they're still the Bears. Let's keep that in perspective too. But the Lions will have to continue to be what the Lions were last year and the year before. We have to expect some high level of play, but can they be the Lions they were last year? That might be asking a lot. And don't feel like, again, and this is the conversation I had with you guys before, where people said Super Bowl or bust. If they don't make the Super Bowl, it's not a horrible season. Just get out of that mindset.
Hey, you know what? You got a question from the chat, Rod, from Terrell Lamar. He wants to know, ask Rod how he views the Lions. Are we elite in your eyes, Rod? That's what he wants to know. Ooh, deliberation.
Still elite, but you're not where you were with Frank Ragnow. And it remains to be seen. Again, maybe they just it's a speed bump and they just roll right over and they continue as they were. But having not seen a game without Frank Ragnow, you can't say that they're in the when we finished the season, people were talking about the Lions were maybe 4th in that or 5th in the power rankings. That still remains true. Let's see a couple of games before we start making these sweeping decisions. If they lose that first game against Green Bay and they have a tough time with the Bears, are we still on that 6-1 train and 6-1 bandwagon? Let's just not be blindly allegiant to the Lions. Let's see something before we start making all of these predictions.
Yep, and I still think they're elite as well. And I think ultimately when it all shakes out, they'll be okay. Still expect them to win the division. Still expect them to have a... I still think it's Super Bowl or bust, but we can agree to disagree on that. But like one quick thing, though, that I want to ask, just the football part of it. How confident are you in an interior offensive line of Graham Glasgow at center and let's just say Mahogany and Ratledge at the guard positions? It's hard to say.
Right now.
I know we haven't seen Ratledge play even a snap, and Mahogany's been very limited. I know it's a loaded question, but
yeah, we're getting hashtag Ask Rods in the chat now. This might have to be a weekly thing. Jeez.
I don't feel great about it.
Okay.
I don't feel great. Are you running up the middle now? I mean, maybe you want to bounce that outside when you're calling those runs. Student body left, student body right. I don't feel great about that interior offensive line, but they're going to need some time to gel. And don't give me these couple of snaps in the preseason and say, they're terrible or they're really good. Preseason tells you absolutely nothing at all except who's healthy and who's not. That's it. That's all you take from the preseason. So, again, give me that first Green Bay game and that second Chicago game. Give me a road game and give me a home game, and I'll tell you a lot more about where they are.
Ooh, Rod's cooking, man. Absolutely. He got the chat percolating, absolutely. And I will just read this one really quick. Big Dan Davis, before we get to the next segment, he says, hashtag Ask Rod, which I guess is becoming a thing, Rod. Will the Lions starting center be someone on the roster, or should Brad make a move to go get a vet to fill that spot? And obviously, Brandon Sheriff was what Justin Henry.
But he's a guard though, so he wouldn't play center. He would just be like part of the interior offensive line rotation. And Rod, just to further that, if you look at who's available right now, it's not good. It would have to be a camp cut or something like that. So that's why I've been more bullish about fixing up augmenting other parts of the team with the money that you're going to save from Frank Ragnow retiring, because I just don't think it's realistic to really improve the O-line too much as of yet. We'll see what camp what
unless you move
camp,
Glasgow over and bring in a sheriff to fill one of those other spots.
Yeah, but I've got Glasgow going to the center anyway. So yeah, I mean that's an option, 100%.
What say you?
Yeah. I feel better about that. I don't feel good about guards shifting to center either. That takes some time, and it takes some timing, and the chemistry that you've established with this offensive line is one of the keys. If Glasgow can make that a seamless transition, I feel better. But again, hit me in week 3. Ask Rod in week 3, and we can revisit this conversation.
I like that one. You know what? Let's take a quick one, and we'll get back because we got to talk about the Detroit Pistons. Got some questions to answer with that's a little bit of a Swisher break.
Absolutely.
So let's rock. Let's get to that one. I think we got to hear from the Massage Chair House?
Chair House.
Let's go.
Yeah, let me tell you guys about the Massage Chair House. Get the music playing first. Looking to upgrade your relaxation game? Check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest, with top brands for massage chairs like Infinity and Osaki. Located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road, experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doctor, creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan the QR code. Massage Chair House, your ticket to the ultimate recovery and relaxation.
Feldman Chevrolet still has tariff-free inventory, so we're extending the Memorial Day sale. That means it's your last chance to get tariff-free pricing on your new Chevy. Get this 2025 Silverado for only $199 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for just $259 a month. But hurry, these low prices won't last. Don't miss your last chance to save big. The Memorial Day sale has been extended at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won. We got everybody. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan that QR code on screen. Use code word Woodward1000. Deposit up to $8,000. But all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet, and if it doesn't hit, Caesars will throw it right back into your account with no questions asked. Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan that QR code. Use code word Woodward1000 and make some money tonight.
Make some money. Hey, what up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all for choosing to kick off today with the WUW Crew. And you know what, man? Ask Rod is just taking over the chat. We're definitely going to make sure that this remains a part of when Rod Beard is on the show, especially for that first segment.
Ooh, and before we go to Pistons talk. I just want to clean up one super chat and then we can move on. Will the Hall of Fame game be telling for us on who will be our center? I think no. And do you think Tate or Graham should start week 1? Graham has experience at the center position in the NFL. Tate Ratledge didn't even do it in college. And I like the Tate Ratledge pick. I think he could be good, and I think he could be very good at guard immediately, but I would much rather have Graham to start week 1 than Tate at center. But anywho, just want to clean that up.
100%. And I 100% agree with you. When you talk about the Kumbaya points, Graham at center should just be where every Detroit Lions mind instantly goes. We talked about it. We discussed it. Even if you go and you scrape the bottom of the barrel for offensive line help before camp cuts and all of that, it's legitimately scraping the bottom of the barrel. You're safer with the guy who has experience at least playing that position. So I 100% agree with you on that one. But you know what? Rob Beard has gotten the chat livened up, and I can't wait to get into this next segment because we got to talk about the Detroit Pistons free agency outlook. That also includes the draft, and we have some things from some of the best as it relates to understanding the cap and the outlook that the team is going to have and making all of the practical moves that the Pistons can do. They kind of lay it out there, and to be honest with you, the Pistons don't have a lot of room to make a lot of moves. If they do go out there and play in free agency, they're going to cost themselves one of the vets or two that are free agents this year in themselves. One of Dennis Schroeder, Tim Hardaway, or Malik Beasley will be gone if the Pistons go out there and make subsequent moves, unless they utilize and straddle the new CBA and the new rules that go along with it, because they have some different exceptions that can be used at their disposal to be able to bring back some of these vets, bring and do a minor move. But I'm going to read something a little bit later, too, because the Pistons actually have the ability to go into this offseason and make a huge splash if they want to, because on draft night, they're going to be able to play with a full deck of cards for the first time in almost 4 or 5 years. So you guys already know the deal. It's your boy Brandon Dan, K. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad and the network. And we also got Rod Beard, the legend, senior sports editor at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, on with us. And Rod Beard, I ask you first, with free agency and the draft ahead in mind, take it away with Rod's thoughts. And I'm going to share a couple things here from Bobby Marks and from Keith Smith, NBA.
Kick the tires. Kick the tires on everything. All of the stuff that we've talked about in the past few weeks, whether it's Bobby Portis, you like Naz Reid, I think the market is going to put them in a tough spot to get some of the bigger names. But just if you trust in Trajan Langdon and his ability to target Tim Hardaway, like, was that somebody that was on the list that you said, hey, the Pistons are going to go and get, and that's going to make them a better team?
Nope.
Not really. Dennis Schroeder, I don't think was on very many people's radar at all. And that morning of that, I kind of said, hey, wait a minute, this dude is still out here. We could go and get him.
Finesse.
So, yeah, but I think that's what you trust in. And don't feel like the big names that are out there, they have to go. And if they don't get Giannis, I know some people are going to be a little bit disappointed. Okay, they didn't get Giannis, but like one team is going to get Giannis, and it's probably not going to be the Pistons. If you did go get Giannis, you're gutting the rest of your roster to do it. Trust your team's front office to make the wise moves and base it on their track record of doing that before. And we said the same thing with Troy Weaver's drafting acumen. Drafts were fine. Trades didn't always work out. And okay, obviously the Killian Hayes didn't work out. I'll continue to beat that drum too. But I mean, you trust the track record and hope your team gets it right.
Hey, definitely. You know what? I'm going to get more into this as it relates to our off-season outlook, because you're preaching. I love the analogy of kicking the tires. It's something that we've heard of even from a guy like Brad Holmes, who we've seen traditionally be a little bit more conservative with his free agent approach or even in trades. But we heard now that, hey, he did kick the tires on Max Crosby. He did kick the tires on Myles Garrett. He did kick the tires on Hendrickson. Whether you strike it or not, it's nice to know that you have a GM who can kick the tires on some of those more extravagant deals, as well as find ways to keep your team among the top without some of those extravagant deals, unless you're giving them to your own guys. But I have a shout-out of the day, and that is to one J.B. Bickerstaff, who Trajan Langdon. You talk about all of the aspects of identification, what gets this team to the next level. If you could throw that up, J.B. Smooth, and chat family, if you have a shout-out of the day, whether it was something sports-related, business-related, family-related, put it into the chat, and we'll read some of the best. But this was interesting right up here via Bobby Marks. He says, the hiring of head coach J.B. Bickerstaff also gave Detroit an identity. This season, the Pistons ranked 10th in defensive efficiency, 9th in field goal percentage allowed, 5th in paint points, and 9th in blocks last year. They ranked in the 20s in each of those categories, including 25th in efficiency. A big jump forward for JB Bickerstaff. So I wanted to just give him a tip of the cap as we're talking about some of the things that Trajan Langdon has done so well. And that's where we go to the article from Omari Sankofa of the Detroit Free Press, which laid out some comments from Trajan Langdon I wanted to tell the people before we get into our Swisher break. He says, I can tell you there's a specific thing we're looking at going at in the draft. Again, we understand the landscape of it, and we see if we can move up, if there's a player we really like, but we have to look at how much that cost is for that kind of player we think we're going to get. And we'll weigh all those things as we get information in Chicago and start doing our draft prep and going for it in the draft. He also talked about keeping all avenues open, like you said, in terms of making a splash or making some marginal moves or going out there and seeing if there's something somewhere in between. So Trajan Langdon, he definitely has his head up on all deals possible. And this is where I get excited, Rod, as we're getting a little bit closer to Swisher break. If you could put up Bobby Marks of ESPN, the draft capital outlook for the Pistons, JB.
Oh, yeah.
Rod, this is where it gets pretty interesting because I've actually heard this is something to look out for the Pistons. If you're talking about kicking the tires, they actually have the opportunity to go out there and make a big deal without giving up the young players on the roster, but they're going to have to mortgage their future to do it. He says here, for the first time since the 2020 offseason, that is 5 years, Rod, the Detroit has control of its first-round picks for the next 7 years. Starting the night of the draft, the Pistons are allowed to trade up to 4 first-round picks, and they're allowed to swap first in every single season. They have 15 second-rounders available. The Detroit Pistons are actually primed to be able to make a big move when you consider someone like a Tobias Harris in his contract, as well as the effectiveness he's shown, as well, and then you mix it with all of the first-round picks that they're actually able to package. The Pistons are actually in a big prime position to actually cash in on one of those splashes.
And this is what we talk about with one way you improve your roster is cleaning up your cap. We've seen them do that in the past few years. You got to clean up your draft picks also. And that this pick that had been sitting out there for years and years and years and years, and they were so bad that it was not going to convey. Now that it's gone, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, and you can have a normal sort of trade session and trade conversation with people to say, hey, we've got some first that we can give you. People will hang up if you're like, yeah, maybe we can give you this first. Well, we'll see. No, we ain't got time to see, bro. We got other calls that we're taking of people who definitely control their own picks. So I think this is one of the bigger developments is that, yes, you don't get a draft pick this year. I don't know that you would be able to do very much with it anyway. I don't particularly love this draft class. It's not as bad as last year, but I don't particularly love this draft class. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you do whatever you need to do, and hey, if you keep it, it's salary control that you can kind of keep under your wing too. But if you want to package it and do something, you have that ability now too.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's get that graphic up because this is where we got to answer these questions. Trajan Langdon talked about the possibility of moving up. Swisher break. But we hear these little rumors about the Pistons being in prime position to go out there and just chaos this offseason. We've seen them at like 3 or 4 of the last 5 drafts actually trade back into the first round. We've seen them actually trade 4 players. The Jeremy Grant deal was for a player. That was during the draft when they actually acquired him. So it's going to be intriguing to see how Trajan Langdon moves forward. But this is the first question that I got to ask you guys.
Show me the Devin Booker graphic. Show me the Devin Booker graphic. It's there. I know it's there. I know it's there.
You know what? As always, people, look, Devin Booker, come on. Force your way home, brother. Come on. You have an owner who would understand your desire to be back home and connected to Michigan, man. Your Phoenix Suns, you guys even went out to Michigan, say that to his alma mater, and showed him a lot of love, man. Come on home, Devin. But you know what? This is where the first question lies. And chat family, I want to know what you guys feel too. We get let me see here. This is the offseason. This is the offseason for the Pistons to make a splash. Not what do you think Trajan Langdon is going to do or not do. The Pistons are in the driver's seat with their draft picks. They have good young capital. They have a good big contract in Tobias Harris, a good value, large contract, which can really move and shake. That is $26 million. And around the draft time, when some of the cap holds aren't in yet, that's a big, big piece. But what say ye, Swisher break? This is the offseason, not next, for the Pistons to actually make the big splash, whether it's trade or signing.
what I want, you know what? I'm going to go Swish. And I've been a little...
You're effing them picks. You're trading.
I've been a little wishy-washy at times, but let me just say this. There are some... And I get it. It's our social media page. It isn't gospel. But I have seen some ones that have been posted that a lot of people disagree with that I've been like, yeah, 100% make it happen. 100% make it happen. And with all kinds of players, it's not just Devin Booker. There's been rumblings about KD, Giannis. I know your favorite, Zion, Lauri Markkanen. Even, I mean, I guess I'll stop there because that would define splash. But I'll say Swish. And I'm not going to be devastated if they don't, but what I would do, I'll say Swish.
You just named like 5 or 6 good players. There's only so many teams on the rise.
Yeah.
You actually make a really, really compelling point there. That dude, Justin, what up, though, brother? How you feeling about this thing? Is this the offseason? The Detroit Pistons have to make that splash for you. They're in prime position right now.
I don't think they have to, but I think they will. I just think that the options that are coming available this offseason, as it seems, are going to be perfect fits for the Pistons, the KDs, the D-Books. Like, either of them come available, I think they match perfectly in what the Pistons want to do. So I think it's a Swish, and I think that it will be this offseason.
JB Smooth.
I feel like Sam on this one. I've been going back and forth about these picks, but I think I'm at the point where it is right now where it's like, Pull a Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. F them picks.
You're putting the picks in the T-shirt cannon and launching them.
I'm just launching them. Bring in somebody, some heavy hitters, some new talent right now. Just help out Cade as much as you can. As much as you can, just help this man out.
Hey, Kavasi Chase, what's your philosophy?
You might, Chase.
I'm gonna say Brick. I don't think the move I'd like to make would be considered necessarily like a splash unless you are able to get someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm looking more at like someone like in the paint to play a pivotal role, either to replace Tobias or to help kind of like guide Jalen Duren in his growth as a center. I'm looking for like someone to play in the front court.
Yeah, and you know what? Before Rod gives his answer, Big Dan Davis, he says Devin Booker, bring him home. Let's speak it into existence so we know where he is. But Great Beard 78 says Ivy can be better than Booker. So there's some people who are not for it. And I see you, Flannel, saying, hold it. All right.
Rod Beard, kumbaya. What have I always told you about the Ivy bros? They're psychotic sometimes, and I like Ivy, but what? Kumbaya. Rod Beard, kumbaya. Sorry, I'm feeling very vindicated today, but go on. Ivy bros. Wild.
Dante 151, he says Swish. And you know what? But I saw another one. Cortez Whitlow says Brick. Add Gary Trent Jr., let THJ go, and get a real power forward. Rod Beard, what say ye? He's still under duress. Chat family is killing Rod today.
If you believe in humanity, that should be something that takes away your faith in humanity. Like, Ivy can be better than D-Book? Like, what are we doing? What? Why do we have a show? Why do we even have these segments if people are going to say stuff like that?
Y'all got Rod hot? What up, though, Rod?
Okay.
I already know where you at.
Look. I'm going to say Swish, and I'm going to come from a different perspective on this.
Ooh.
If the Celtics can't keep this roster together, if Milwaukee loses Giannis, if the Knicks without Tibbs now implode, unless they go get Malone, then that they could keep it together. There's an opportunity for the Pistons to jump 2 to 3 spots in the East, which puts them in the top 4. Go do something reckless. This is one of the few times that I will jump out of character and say, go do something reckless and go get a big name if it's reasonable and you don't have to sell the farm to do it. Go do it. Just go do it. If you need to go get Book, go get Book. Do it. Make it happen. Or if you don't get Book, at least you have Ivy, who is in some ways better than Book.
Come on, Rod. He found a way to bring it back around full circle.
I promise you guys, I like Jaden Ivey. I really do.
We all do.
It's the Ivy bro fans, and I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that feels that way. Trust me.
Hey, no,
is Stick in the room? Do we know for a fact that Stick didn't send that?
We don't know for a fact. He could be somewhere in the back office. Is that? I see a shadowy figure just walking past the window right now.
Okay, it's not
that
Stick.
might be. Shout out to the K Crusader. I see you in the chat, Mike G. It is the K Crusader shirt on the Woodward Sports Network merch shop. But we got question number 2 here, and this one is, who's the swish and who's the brick free agent target? You got to pick one. That is Naz Reid, who the Pistons have been linked to, rumored to have some interest in, as well as Miles Turner. There is also been, by several different outlets, reports that the Detroit Pistons are actually interested in both of them. And so, and just to kind of put it out there even a little bit more, this is via Mark Stein. The Pistons are among teams with interest in Timberwolves big man Naz Reid, as well as them coveting. They're known to covet floor spacing big man Miles Turner, and I guess that also includes all of his Legos. I see Rod took the glasses off of that one. Who's the swish? Who is the brick free agent target? We got a lot of people in our previous comments who you're seeing people on both ends of it who want Nas, some people who want Miles. Where you at with this thing?
I would say they're both swishes in a way, but if you were to ask me the bigger swish,
who's the one?
I'm going to go Miles Turner for one reason. Obviously, he's got a great skill set. He's a stretch big. But my thing with Miles Turner, and I'm being dead serious, by the way, I think Miles Turner would also give the Pistons an opportunity to give them what they need and weaken the Pacers a little bit. Because Miles Turner, not only is he a very high contributing member on a team that's in the finals right now, he gives the Pistons fits constantly. So Miles Turner would be my swish, although Bobby Portis would be a nice consolation prize. If you want a secondary answer, whoever's cheaper. That'd be my secondary answer. But in a vacuum, player for player, give me Miles Turner by the slimmest of margins.
That dude, Justin.
I agree with Flannel. I just add Naz Reid to that list, and I would be happy.
Yeah. So you want Nas?
Yeah.
Dope. JB Smooth. Who's your swish? Who's the brick free agent target? Naz Reid or Miles Turner?
Did I say Bobby Portis? My bad. Still, same applies with Naz Reid. I would still do Miles Turner.
I think the swish has to be Naz Reid. I just think he fits a little bit more. But selfishly, I would love Miles Turner on this team, but I think it's Naz Reid. Kool-Aid, I'm surprised that you haven't thrown in another name that's been floating around as well, too. One Mr. Karis LeVert.
Listen, he's going to be a part of a future one. But because I think, though, he's intrinsically linked, in my opinion, to if another Michigan guy comes back next year or not. I do. I see you, Rod. I really do. When I saw that intrigue and interest, I was like, they can get him for cheaper. And when you look at the stats, I kind of like what the potential could be there. What up, though, Kavasi Chase? We're going to talk about that one probably next week, JB Smooth.
I mean, I'm going to say switch to this. I think that's kind of just piggybacking on what I was answering with the last question. We're saying I think we should add someone in the front court who I think would be really beneficial to this team. Not necessarily what would be considered the splash move, but the piece that is really the necessary move, the grimy, the grittiness, to help in the paint where we really need to help, I think, defensively too.
Hey, what say ye, Rod Beard?
I'm going to say swish on Naz Reid because he doesn't have to play the 5 and you can play him with Duran. Miles Turner plays with Legos, man. I can't
He's not letting it go.
I can't. I'm not going to let it go. And he's just more of a traditional big. And 6.5 rebounds is concerning for me, for him. Yes, it would weaken the Pacers a little bit, but I think they would find another way around it. And I'm more in the Bobby Portis camp. Just give me some contract numbers on what you would have to get for each one, and I can make a better decision on this. But I like some other options, some 4s that you don't take Duran out of his development.
I actually really like that nuance there because that to me is what's kind of missing from this team right now. Obviously, they need help at that 4th spot, whether it's depth or whether it's whether they decide to do something different in the starting lineup. Thought that was a really good distinction. I think that the free agent on all of our minds for like the last 3 weeks, it's been Bobby Portis. You're talking about high impact, high motor, toughness, what we like out of Detroit. He's not going to cost a lot. He's the guy to me who I believe you can just slide into what you have right now, and he won't disrupt a whole lot of what you want to do for your off season. That's the one that I'm just kind of like, that's just, hey, let's just do that. It's a low stress move and keep it moving. But I'm seeing some people in the chat. Turner is a scorer, but Cortez Whitlow says if Miles Turner isn't making threes, he's useless. He doesn't rebound at all. Dante151 believes the swish is Miles Turner and the brick is Naz Reid. There's a whole lot for Miles Turner in this chat. Vincent E, A Diz, Weezy D313, Let me see here. Weezy even more so says Nas Reed thinks he's KD. I'm good. There's a lot of love in this chat for one Miles Turner. But last question here. The Pistons have 3 free agents that they could bring back. That's Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, and Dennis Schroeder. The one that I've seen everybody in Kumbaya about has been Dennis Schroeder. But what if you could only bring back one of these? Because if you're going to go out there and potentially sign a Miles Turner, a Nas Reed, or one of these other players, you might price yourself out of one of these other free agents. Is Dennis Schroeder, if you could only sign one, is Dennis Schroeder that one? The only one, the only free agent vet that should be signed? Swish or break? Because remember, it has implications on everything else that they try to do moving forward. And it also has implications based on how they decide to place themselves with those exceptions that they can use.
All right. So do you guys mind if I hijack for just a second? Because I want Rod Beard's opinion on this about another free agent for the Detroit Pistons.
Let's go.
I've become, as the playoffs have gone on and on, very, very upset with Malik Beasley. Maybe I'm being emotional, but I'm looking at Tyrese Halliburton. And I've been on record on this show thinking that his playoff run has been very, very overrated. Really, really good. Some legendary moments, but by no means a legendary playoff run. One of the reasons I say that is because he gets to pass the ball to 50% from 3 Aaron Nesmith in the postseason, one of the greatest role player postseason three-point elevators in Andrew Nembhard, gets Pascal Siakam, who was the deserving Eastern Conference Finals MVP over Halliburton, Miles Turner, etc., etc. And Cade got to pass the ball to the playoff dropper in Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. Both of them laid enough bricks to repave Woodward. I truly believe that one of the reasons why Tyrese Halliburton is thought of as a much better postseason performer than Cade Cunningham is because he got to throw the ball to role players who are showing up, and Cade did not. So I'm very upset with Malik Beasley.
And that no, I'm glad you said that, because that is kind of the basis of the question. This team is talking about moving forward next year. This team is talking about taking big steps forward next year. And the East, that rod. Hey, Tom Thibodeau, the Pistons contributed. The Pacers contributed. They're now, add them to the all dysfunction teams. Add them. They put too much investment in. So I don't have a problem with what you're saying. The Pistons have a great opportunity right now to strike. It's unfortunate what happened to the Celtics. I'm glad to see what's happening with the Knicks. And now you see things opening up for the Pistons. But if they rest on their laurels one bit, Orlando has an opportunity to really, really strike next year. There's some teams like the Raptors who there's already mutual interest between them and Giannis. This team can't just run it back cutely. If you're talking about bringing back multiple of these vets, you got to know that these guys are going to be there when it matters most. We're talking about a team we think it could be for top 4. You got to have those guys. You have to have those guys as the ones performing. That dude Justin. What do you say? Schroeder would be then the only of the vets you'd bring back. He's the only one that should be brought back. Swish.
Sure, Swish.
That dude Justin. You.
I didn't hear the question.
You're cutting Beasley, Hardaway. You're giving them the boot. Schroeder, Swish or break, the only vet that should be brought back.
Swish. I've done a 360 on this whole free agent bit with Beasley and THJ and Schroeder, and I think that Schroeder's the best value. He brings the most to the team. He brings you that third guard, facilitating guard. Unless you were going to bring in Chris Paul, I would like to see Schroeder back on this team. I think you can replace Beasley with some other shooters. I think that you need a better plethora of shooters instead of one shooter that's just lights out. Which he wasn't lights out for the playoffs, so it didn't matter in that regard.
I'm seeing some early bricks here, and I'm seeing some support from Malik Beasley. But JB Smooth, what say you?
Man, this is a hard question. Come
it's
on,
a tough one, man. They got to figure this out, though. They're faced with it right now.
They are faced with this right now, and I probably got to agree with you guys as well, too, and go with Swish. I think you could find another quality, consistent shooter, especially during the playoffs as well, too. But it just sucks to let him go right now, especially Beasley, because I feel like he's just someone that the city has, fallen in love with and just found an attraction to with this team. But it's a Swish for me. I know it's a tough decision, but yeah, give me Schroeder. Ooh. He's the one I want.
I think I'm about to call on Chase GPT for this one. What up, though, brother?
I was gonna say, yeah, I'll say Swish as well. Go ahead and throw Tobias Harris in the mix as another veteran. You're not.
You can do that as well. I agree with that.
Any way to get the little strays, boy. Drive by. Shout out Fast and Loose with the drive by on Tobias. Big Dan Davis, Woodward Sports. Bring back Malik Threesley. He loves it here. Jordan from MI. Beasley is the only one that we should sign. Terrell Lamar, no. You know what? Charles McClain, Beasley. Terrell Lamar, Brick. There's a lot of Beasley love here in Detroit. And shout out because he did show a lot of love to the city. And we know that his connections here too. But I do see some people in the chat who believe that it should be Schroeder. And I see some who believe it should be Tim Hardaway. This is actually a lot more split in the chat than I thought it would be. Maybe we can do a chat poll on that. Which one of the vets should it be? Should it be Schroeder, Beasley, or Tim Hardaway Jr.? It's going to be an intriguing one. But, Rob Beard, what say you? If it's only one, because we're talking about the improvements we want to see them make elsewhere, if they use this cap space to sign someone else, they have to relinquish the cap holds on the current free agents of Dennis Schroeder, Tim Hardaway, and Malik Beasley, making them probably open to the market outside of the exemptions and exceptions the Pistons will be able to use to sign them. So, what say you? Schroeder, if you're going to sign one, is he the only one?
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I said it was Schroeder, and I got boos and I got comments in the comments, and I'm a stick where I am, that defensively he finished games for you. He guarded Brunson when you needed another body on him. That to me is more of an asset than the three-point shooting if you're not going to make the three-point shooting, and that's one of the risks. Is, yeah, that 40% means you make 40%. It also means you miss 60% of the threes that you take. And that's, you didn't have a lot more three-point shooters like that. I think you can find that and you can get on some hot streaks, but that defensive presence at that point guard position that lets Cade not have to guard those smaller guys at the end of the games is something that's just hidden and that we don't talk about enough.
Hey, I appreciate your perspective on that 100%, Rod. And before we let you go, one thing to clarify about Halliburton having an overrated postseason run, in my opinion, is when it comes to Cade, I will acknowledge that he didn't control all the controllables that he could have. That 18% three-point percentage, even though it was his first postseason, that's gross. I'm not going to defend that. Nobody should even try. Some of the late-game turnovers I get, but, man, it's just – Tyrese Halliburton has a charmed life. I understand he's had some game winners. That's a legendary stretch. That 30-10-15 game with no turnovers, that was legendary. The assist-to-turnover ratio as a low-usage player, amazing. But, man, has that guy had so many players that he can throw to just knock down threes. In game one of the Eastern Conference Finals, they were about to lose by double digits if Aaron Nesmith didn't have the greatest three-point shooting stretch I've ever seen. Game two, Pascal Siakam had 39. I don't know. I'm very passionate about this, and I'm very upset with the overration, not a word, of Tyrese Halliburton's play. Very good.
We will allow it.
Yes.
Overration. I like that. We have to add that one to the WUW Crew dictionary, JB Smooth. But
overration.
Rod Beard, thank you for your time as always, brother. Man, it's been awesome for a couple different segments, multiple sports teams here in Detroit, and a lot of them they're just winning right now. But any last words from you, brother?
Tigers. We didn't talk Tigers one bit.
Yeah.
Best team in baseball right now.
Tigers, man.
Yeah.
Best, and that's where we are. That the other teams are so good that we don't even have to talk about the team that has the best record in baseball. Again, let's not forget where we were 3-4 years ago when none of these were playoff teams and we were struggling to have good conversations about sports.
Yeah.
Feel fortunate about where you are as a sports city. You've made it, and this is a fun time.
Hey, this is a fun time, straight up. Rod Beard, senior sports editor, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Definitely going ahead and smash that like button for the legend, Rod Beard. Thank you for your time as always. Go Blue, brother.
Go Blue.
Hey, let's rock. Let's get to that next segment. Do we got to double up on anything, JB Smooth?
Yeah, we probably do. So, how about Buddy's and Dr. Pierce?
Hey, definitely. Buddy's Pizza. It's been serving the original Detroit-style pizza since 1946, and 79 years later. They still have 22 locations in the state of Michigan, and fans can visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. Sign up for Buddy's Reward to earn points on every purchase. and receive exclusive promotions. Download the Buddy's Pizza mobile app today and start earning. Add some Detroit style to your next meal and save 10% off that entire order using the promo code 10meal. That is the number 10MEAL, buddiespizza.com. And attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy, every Thursday on Ermanni Networks, where he's offering top-notch injury advice. Gotta trust the guy that D-Mac does. Why? Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 13th from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Nemo's in Corktown for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ven Johnson.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com. No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
How do you think you won? David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, justice. It means different things to different people, but whether it is a settlement or a verdict, justice is always worth the fight. If you've got a case, contract the fighters at Ven Johnson Law today and get the justice you deserve. Tough, tenacious trial lawyers, Ven Johnson Law.
Hey, you know what, Tigers fans? I know that it's all of you guys. We're calling you guys to join us for the White Claw Tigers Tour. And because when we put on those victory shades, we want you guys also to have a pair too at home. And Jack from White Claw is going to make sure that if you guys show up, mark this date down, okay? Friday, June 13th. If you show up, you guys are going to get a whole lot of swag from White Claw, a lot of swag from Woodward Sports, and an opportunity to win some merch, but you got to show up, okay? We're hitting 4 of the top bars in Detroit. We already did McShane's. We got 3 more on the way with Nemo's Bar in Detroit as the next one. You want to join Spencer, Easy, and all the heavyweights and all the other Woodward Sports personalities that will be in the building, including our guy Brady from Sales, to be a part of all of the fun and see our reactions live on Woodward Sports Network, including your own, to one of the hottest teams in baseball. It's the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ven Johnson Law. We are back. You know what? I'm not even going to deliberate. Hey, touch pass over to JB Smooth for what's trending. Let's rock.
Let's do it.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Ain't no better than JB Smooth. What's
going on, chat family? What's up, fellas? Got a couple videos for you here today. First off, I got to let you know, Caesar Sportsbook, obviously the best sportsbook around, our favorite here at Woodward Sports. But is this bad if you're doing this and you're supposed to be at work? My man is at a casino on a Zoom call at work.
Oh my gosh.
Is this? Do you have a problem at this point?
You might have a problem at this point, man. This is giving what Allen Iverson vibes right now during his Detroit time.
I mean, as long as they don't know.
No disrespect.
As long as they don't know.
As long as they don't know any better. I mean, I get that maybe it's a little degenerate by the employee, but what they don't know won't hurt them.
Hey, you know what, man? People becoming really, really, really resourceful. If he's getting his work done, who am I to say, you know, it's shame on him? If he's still showing proficiency, maybe this helps him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
As long as you're getting the work
JB,
done,
what you doing, man? What you think? We should do a live remote from like MGM or something, Greek Town?
Oh, I wouldn't mind that. Obviously, I don't think
Motor
any work
City?
would get done. Like on my end, I know that for sure. I'd be at one of the machines myself, but I'm just saying, you never know. Like maybe he's getting work done out there. You never know. But I got to show you guys this video because it's time for another edition of Does He Make It?
Oh, no.
What?
And pause. Does he make it?
I want to say no for a fact, but he approached that so aggressively.
He's making
and
it.
so confidently that it just feels like he knows what he's doing.
This dude is like ripping around, rocking and rolling. Like,
all right, my money's on it. He's going to make it.
I agree with you. I agree with Kool-Aid. I think he's going to make it.
Does he make it? Well, let's find out. Look at
Whoa! Oh! Bro! With the soft landing, too. And then a little bit of a wheelie on the back. Yo! This is pretty awesome. I don't know why I'm so fired up about this now, but I was hanging on the edge of my seat.
Into a reverse popper for you Monster Jam fans right there.
Yeah, see, check that out. Makes it look effortless, too.
That's actually pretty dope, bro. I'm not trying that, but I'm glad that he did. That's pretty cool to see.
Oh, man. Shout out to him. And finally, I will end what's trending with this. Flannel, this is the perfect bat flip.
Man.
Oh,
Come on.
wow.
Come on now. That's just skill. Like, I don't even know how you even did
How many
that, but
unwritten
like, come on.
rules of baseball did that break?
See, I don't want to be unwritten rules guy, but it's Justin and Ryan's generation that's making me unwritten rules guy. This is cool though. Not you guys specifically, but your generation.
I mean, I don't think it was a crazy bat flip.
What did you think about
I
that?
don't think he was like disrespectful with the bat flip. He twisted it. It just happened to land really cool.
No, I don't. Yeah, this
My
is
man
this
out
is
here,
sweet.
he looked like Carlos Guillen, dog, off of Weaver.
Yeah, no, that was nice.
You know what? Let's post that one today. That one always does well. Carlos Guillen off Weaver, staring him down. That was epic.
That was epic, but that was epic for what's trending. Let's hop in some mailbag while we got some time.
Hey, dope. We'll see if we got something here in the chat. But shout out to JB Smooth, as always, for cooking up with everybody's favorite segment, What's Trending, bought by everybody, man. Loom, Mad Pack,
I
Jars.
see one.
Hey,
Mailbag
get to
from WeezyD313. I wonder what you're trying to do here. Flannel, would J.J. Watt and
saw that.
Julius
I was about to
Peppers
read
be
that.
better pass rush options than Pascal Davenport? Maybe not now when they're retired, but I have a question to you, Weezy. Who's better in their prime, Watt or Davenport? I'm really terrified you'd say Davenport. I'm like actually terrified you'd say Davenport, but that's okay. Hopefully Davenport works out for the Lions this year and you can get some vindication.
Steve-O, baby, mailbag. Can we have Rod on the show every day? You know what? I'll ask him if he wants to call
Sure.
in, man.
Yeah.
We love Rod here. I'm glad that he continues to give us his time and as well as the camaraderie. But if you guys have some mailbag questions, definitely throw them into the chat. I saw one earlier that I missed, but I wanted to kind of go back a little bit to what we were talking about before. I see Charles McClain, though. Mailbag. Hooker will be quarterback 3, released or traded? And that's a question. Campbell likes players with game experience. I'm saying he gets traded. Wow. We have backup quarterback talk.
I mean, not even on my radar right now, but hey, if they don't think that Hooker's it, if he hasn't progressed, I'm not mad at them kicking the tires. Backup quarterbacks are way more important than I think people give a credit to. You can't just punt the season if your quarterback goes down. I mean, I get it. If Goff were to miss the whole season with a season-ending injury, that they wouldn't win the Super Bowl, but backup quarterbacks are valuable for a short stints and sometimes even Super Bowl runs. Shout out Nick Foles and Jeff Hostetler.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I see another one here, Jordan from MI. It's 2 questions, kind of all over the place. Mailbag, Prime JB or Scooble, and then another blast from the past. Also, bring back automatic Anthony Tolliver. He's a perfect fit for the Pistons. He wants a return of the Tolliverse, man.
Okay.
Which one of those do you want to tackle first?
I mean, Prime JV or Scooble, I think I gave my opinion on our video. It's hard to compare because Scooble's prime is incomplete, but I think his prime will ultimately be better than JV's. And I love Justin Verlander. His 2-year run in 11 and 12 is legendary, but I'm hoping Scooble maybe this year and next year picks up another Cy Young so we can have the conversation.
Hey, dope. And you know what, man? It's intriguing what the Pistons have in front of them, man, because I see Weezy D313. Shouldn't we be wary of bringing back career journeyman THJ, Schroeder, Beasley? I'm fine with Sasser and Holland. I don't know necessarily if I'm fine with Sasser and Holland with talking about taking the next step forward. But if you're telling me that if you're bringing back Sasser and Holland and the other young players, I am firmly in the boat of F them picks. That's just where I'm at. If you can go out there, load up these first-round picks, and go out there and kick the tires, like Rod said, on one of these just game changers, one of these studs, one of these stars, you go out there and do that. What are these teams going to do? These teams that are talking about trading some of these big players right now, what for who in the draft? You know what I mean? You start to fall outside your top 5, your top 6, your top 7. Who are you exactly doing this with? So their best bet is what happens in the future. And right now the Pistons are one of the teams best situated with the draft capital. Now that they have control over their future to be able to do that, to give a team, what do you want? Why? Because you already have K locked up. And you believe that you're going to lock him up for his next deal. Why? Because you know you're definitely locking up 2 of at least Osar, Jalen Duren, and Ivy. And you expect these guys to approach all-star. So for me, after them picks, get somebody in here who can accelerate things to a degree. I do trust Trajan Langdon, though, and whatever he chooses to do.
I was going to say, I mean, the Pistons got themselves a little bit of a war chest.
They do now.
They do.
They can trade a whole lot right now.
And Chuckle Cheese, just really quick, what happened? No calls today. Shout out Chuckle Cheese. We had Rod on, so like there wasn't a ton of time, but we're going to make that a bigger part. And who won the Caller Yesterday award or whatever?
Chuckle Cheese got clipped up.
What'd you say?
Chuckle Cheese.
Chuckle Cheese was what the chat family was saying. When we open up the caller segments, we'll definitely make sure that the chat, that you guys are doing a lot to say who the caller of the day is. So we'll definitely, if we can mark down Chuckle Cheese as the caller, we might pit them all against each other on Friday. We'll see, man. We'll have the best callers from the week call back in on Friday, too. But tomorrow, get prepared. Yeah. Maybe we'll open up phone lines, maybe 3rd or 4th segment tomorrow. Yeah. Maybe you get some of these people's comments about what the Lions need to do. Their adjusted season expectations so they can say it with their chest. Maybe present some of that to Rob Beard next time. Because that was an epic segment. But it's not a show, brother.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's get that chest pass going. Thank you, chat family, for being here. If you guys didn't get the opportunity to yet, go ahead and smash that like button to support the WUW Crew. And make sure you guys stay tapped in with all of Woodward Sports. You got Big D Energy right after us, Ermanni and Edwards. And you already know the craziness, the extravaganza. Some of the funniest people I know, the Woodward Heavyweights, man. Stay tapped in with all of Woodward Sports and stay tapped in with the shows that we got going on the weekend. It's a lot of good content. And got the basketball show that's going to be here. And some more basketball content weekly with Chris Platty, Anton, myself, and a whole cast and crew of people and guests here at Woodward Sports. But we got the interns in the building. Intern Ryan, intern Elena, intern Noah. And shout out to our brothers Matthew Broder and KG. Cavassier Chase, you in the building. What up, though, brother?
Hey, what's up? Hope you guys are having a good one. Hopefully the Tigers bounce back, get us a win tonight. And then hope you guys tap into Fast and Loose. Check out our coverage from a little bit down to the Grand Prix. We're talking NASCAR. And then we even have a special interview we got to sit and talk with the president of MIS, Jim Fowler. So that's a little special treat at the end of the latest episode of Fast and Loose. Go check it out, please.
Hey, shout out Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth, JB Smooth.
Hey, and what's going on, chat family? Thanks for tapping in once again with us today. Amazing show. Don't forget to check out another episode of Fast and Loose out right now. Myself and Chase. Also, the Chase Lounge today had intern Ryan on, so that was pretty cool and fun. So I got to walk in on that. Trust me, they are having an amazing, hilarious time. Definitely tap into that. And if you want some more JB, there's always the No Chill podcast, so check it out.
Hey, shout out, man. You know what? As we go over to where intern Ryan and that dude Justin are, as we say, what up, though? Maybe we get over there to that park, because I've driven by it a couple times. I see the courts over there. We're going to have to get some content for the people. Some horse, some one-on-ones. Just give me the court.
Itchy shooter finger, that's what it is?
I mean, look, the sun's out. We already know what it's like here in the state of Michigan, man. So I'm kind of starting to feel some stuff. We're going to have to get some content going and bring it to the people. But what up, though, that dude, Justin? Shout out intern Ryan as well.
Yeah, just sorry I wasn't more of a contributor today. I've been over here cooking up a trade.
Shout out Smitty.
A trade all day, but it's been a great show, and I'll maybe actually be able to be on Big D today. So
I was about to say, shout out. Hey, shout out that stuff he's been cooking on may make an appearance on Woodward Wings this Saturday.
Ooh, can't wait. You know what? The vet of the squad. Hey, intern Ryan, what up, though, man? Anything else?
What's going on? I was really hoping that you guys would catch my chat in the live chat of Halliburton over Cade. I just wanted to see a reaction out of you guys. That's all.
Oh, no. I know.
You did?
I see it. I know about you now. I know.
Yeah,
you're going to have to get some burner accounts.
Yeah, because I'm just here to troll, man. I'm just here to troll. I just want to see someone get a nice reaction of just Halliburton over Cade. So
I almost was like, you know what? Let's just have this out right now. But no, maybe we'll do that on one of our Woodward basketball segments, man.
All right.
Tease the people and get them into that as well. But you know what? Shout out to Final Veteran Squad, Veteran Network, man. I can't wait to see the next Woodward Wings. You're one of the trifecta, great trifecta here, covering this team that we hope joins the other three in the sun.
Hey, absolutely. Go Tigers, win these next two, take the series, take a 5-2 road trip. And in my opinion, this is the opinion of Flannel Sam only, go Thunder, go Oilers. I don't want to see no damn team from Florida win a Stanley Cup.
No.
Give Connor McDavid his second Conn Smythe in his first cup title. Come on.
Hey, listen, I'm seeing it. The F them picks. The crowd is out, Spinny, man, for the Pistons. They're like, you know what? They can finally trade all them picks and make a splash. I'm seeing y'all. Terrell Lamar, Mitten May, Mike Reed, Mr. Detroit City. Everybody's in the chat. Hey, let's see what Trajan Langdon does, man. It's your boy Brandon Dan, K. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter, writer for the network. It's been a show, and we appreciate you guys for being here. Smash that like button and stay tapped in with Woodward Sports. Most importantly, have a blessed day, y'all.